we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens.
Walmart is, in fact, going to eat some of the tariffs.
Remember all of the times, the hundreds, maybe thousands of times that Donald Trump said, no, tariffs are going to make us rich. Tariffs aren't a tax on consumers. The nation, China, is going to pay the tariffs. Remember that he said that. And how many times he said it. In fact, here's just one of the we'll just say hundreds because it's certainly hundreds. Here's one time that he said it during a speech recently about how it's going to, he says, I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries. We will tariff and tax foreign countries. We will tariff and tax foreign countries. One moment, 40 seconds. Watch this.
I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. For this purpose, we are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our Treasury.
We know that's not the case. We've known that's not the case. It's up in the air whether Donald Trump believes what he says. I don't believe he does. And that's based on a Truth Social post from just the other day after Wal-Mart CEO, what's his name, Doug McMillon, had this to say about their announcement. They're raising prices because of the tariffs.
We will do our best to keep our prices as low as possible. But given the magnitude of the tariffs, even at the reduced levels announced this week, we aren't able to absorb all the pressure given the reality of narrow retail margins. We're positioned to manage the cost pressure from tariffs as well or better than anyone. But even at the reduced levels, the higher tariffs will result in higher prices.
Pointed language. It is just one more tick of evidence that we don't even need because it's so basic. It's basic economics that China doesn't pay the tariffs. The person who imports, if I'm selling mouses, computer mouses, I don't think they're mice because it's not an animal, it's mouse, it's mouses. If I'm selling these and I'm bringing them in from China and if they're $10 was the cost and now there's 100% tariff, now they're $20, I'm going to pay that $20 as the importer, as the American company owner, and then I'm going to sell it with that price baked into the consumer. Obvious, easy to understand, right? And Doug McMillon just said that. We will do our best to keep prices as low as possible, but given the magnitude of the tariffs, even at reduced levels announced this week, the higher tariffs will result in higher prices. And Donald Trump freaked out on Truth Social, and he said this: Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching, he says ominously, and so will your customers. What is there to eat, Donald Trump? If China pays the tariff, what is there to eat of Walmart and the American consumer? But I thought it was the other way around. You've said it hundreds of times that the American consumer will not pay more because of the tariffs. Hundreds of times. Now you're admitting that that's not the case. That Walmart should eat the tariff. But that's directly contrary to what you've said. Very interesting. It's not just Donald Trump. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, who, by the way, every time I see this guy, he reminds me of Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey. Remember Harry Carey, the Chicago Cubs color commentator? and Will Ferrell's impression of him. I'll do the worst version you've ever seen of it, but it's my impression of Will Ferrell's impression of Harry Carey. And they used to do this bit on Saturday Night Live. We'll throw up a picture, but it was Harry Carey, and he was always wild and nutty and maybe drunk. I don't know exactly, but it was, what's your favorite planet? Mine's the sun. That was a line that Will Ferrell did when I was younger. Anyway, this poorly drawn Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey character, Scott Bessent, was on Meet the Press. And again, not ready for prime time. Where do they find these people who just, maybe it's a good thing. He's so bad at lying that when he starts lying, he literally gets choked up and he just can't even do it. Anyway, watch this for the hilarity and also the truth telling that gets done, even if they don't want you to know the truth that they're telling.
Ask you about Walmart. This big news from Walmart. It says it will start raising prices on its consumers, Mr. Secretary, as early as this month due to the tariffs. Now, President Trump out with a very stern warning on social media saying Walmart, quote, should eat the tariffs, adding the company made far more than expected last year. Is the president asking American companies to be less profitable?
I was on the phone with Doug McMillon, the CEO of Walmart, yesterday, and Walmart is, in fact, going to, as you describe it, eat some of the tariffs that, just as they did in 18, 19, and 20. The other thing, though, that we are seeing, that Doug passed along to me, that with their consumer, the single most important thing is the gasoline price. And gasoline prices have collapsed under President Trump.
And they are going to, as you describe it, Kristen Welker, eat the tariffs. It's not as she describes it, dipshit. It's as Donald Trump described it. Donald Trump, don't you read his Truth Social post? The most invigorating and informative thing in the world. You don't listen to the dear leader's tweets, his posts? Scott Bessent, come on. Eat the tariffs, he said. Between Walmart and China, they should eat the tariffs. Listen, I have a lot of criticism for Kristen Welker. I think generally she does a terrible job. Terrible job. It's debatable whether it was worse than Chuck Todd did. But that's a good question. Is Donald Trump asking American companies to be less profitable? She got a lie for an answer because the answer is absolutely yes. He's asking Donald Trump, because of past profitable quarters, to take the hit, eat the tariff, which means make less money. Now, do I still believe there will be corporate profiteering, price gouging, extra money charged for products on top of the tariff? Yeah, of course. It's what we saw during the pandemic. Companies gouging their customers to make as much money as possible. Shrinkflation, where the box of cereal looks the same size, but alas, there's not as much product in it and you're paying more for it. It's a double dip of gouging the customer. It's just the way our system is set up with our version of capitalism. But you got Donald Trump here now admitting, yes, companies are going to have to eat the tariff or the American people are going to pay more. And why? Because of Donald Trump's tariffs. Because of Donald Trump's tariffs. Because of the goddamn tariffs. Not because of something else. There were no tariffs before Donald Trump came. The tariffs of this, listen, I want to correct the things I'm saying here that can be misconstrued. Obviously, we had tariffs on certain things. But a tariff should be used as a surgical implement. With a scalpel, you apply tariffs to protect certain industries. It's not a blanket, brute force item as a way of economic policy, of trade policy, of global diplomacy. But if you're Donald Trump and you're stupid and you surround yourself with absolute sycophantic yes men, it appears that it's the right way to do things. It's never been the right way to do things. It's never worked. Not when we were the world power that we are now. Not when we lived in a connected global community. Not when technology was like it is now. Never. Yeah, in the 1800s, before we had technology, before we had the internet, before we had the telephone, yeah, tariffs were the way of the world. But that way of the world isn't the way it is anymore. We don't have slavery. There's lots of things that have changed Scott Bessent and Donald Trump. Even though you'd love to drag us back to make America great again, it's just not the case. Anyway, what do you think? It's good to be back, but man, it's not in some ways. You can comment below. I would appreciate that. That'll help to trigger the algorithm. We always love to trigger everybody. Triggering the algorithm is no different. It'll help YouTube share this content with new possible viewers, and I would appreciate that very much. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I appreciate you very much. I will see you next time. As always, be genuine. Take care of one another.